Good morning, dudes. Welcome back to Duty's Daggers. We're doing a cut test with a knife I've already done a cut test with. The Spyderco Delica Wharncliff in K390 blade steel. I'm doing this again because, number one, I want to really drill home how awesome and amazing this knife is. And number two, we kind of changed up the test a little bit recently with a little bit more accurate testing. Like, we're doing a certain amount of feet of cardboard now and certain specific amount of cuts. So I wanted to retest it. Factory edge, unbelievably sharp. I've never sharpened this, only stropped. This K390 is really unbelievable stuff. And on the Delica, I think it really shines. We have very thin blade stock, very thin just overall geometry. This thing is an unbelievable slicer. It would be fun to kind of do a head-to-head battle between this and like the TRM Shadow, maybe. Both the top slicers in my collection. So we're going through 20 feet of regular thickness cardboard. Just kind of see how it passes through. And you can see, passes through like nothing. I really don't feel much of a difference slicing cardboard with this versus like TRM, Shadow, or Abbey. Both really just passing through this stuff like it's not even there. Now, the edge retention on this K390 is nuts. You'll see as the video goes on, this edge was still sticky sharp by the end of the test. Amazing. This particular Delica is wearing some titanium scales from Flytanium. And I had a bit of a problem with the scales, which is kind of why this knife was leaving a bad taste in my mouth for a little while after I had that experience. Real quick, here we're cutting through triple thickness cardboard, 10 feet of it. It's breezing through, almost not even any more difficult than the regular cardboard. So I had bought these titanium scales from Flytanium, and the nuts in the knife that received the 4 body screws were too long, so it wouldn't tighten down enough to keep it tight, to keep the scales tight together. So I had to grind them down, and it was just a whole big deal. So after that, I didn't really carry the knife that much. I think I was kind of just very frustrated with the scales. They looked beautiful. But I was just frustrated that Flytanium knew about that issue but had failed to mention it on the website. But I picked up the knife this morning and I thought, you know what? This is such a good knife. I'm not going to let that sour my experience with it. So decided to carry it today, and it's going to be in my pocket a lot this week. I want to carry it a lot and kind of just spend some time with it. I already know it's an amazing cutter because I already did the first cut test video with it. But I'm kind of just re-experiencing it. To be clear, I talked to Flytanium about this issue with the scales. They said they were aware of it happening some of the time with the Delicas, but not all the time. They were unable to recreate that issue in-house. So they bought a few Delicas. They were unable to experience the same issue that I had in-house. But they have heard of people complaining of the issue before, so it's a weird thing. I don't know what's going on. But the whole thing just kind of frustrating. But I love the scales. I really do. So this is a really good utility cutter, as you can see. It's a Wharncliff blade shape, just unbelievably kind of fine, thin tip. Yeah, just that's really, slicing and utility cuts are the Delica's jam. That's where it excels. And that's the type of cutting I do, so this is perfect for me. I think that's the type of cutting that a lot of people do day to day. Let's see how it does with some leather. Let's roll this baby up. Time to retire this glove. It's got a few holes. People always ask, why do you must go through a lot of gloves. I'm a welder, and the threads get burned up and they split open pretty often. So I go through a lot of pairs of gloves. So once they get a hole, I retire them and cut them up. So I wasn't sure how it would do with this because really there's only the very tip of the blade ever touching the surface. You saw just a second ago that the belly, the rest of the edge never touches the surface that you're cutting on, which sometimes isn't good for this kind of chopping. But I think the tip was so fine and so sharp that it didn't matter. It didn't need any more edge to cut well. It just went through super easy. And our edge, holy crap, it's there. So since I don't have any of that polypropylene rope right now, I decided to try cutting some of this really hard plastic, like pallet straps. I think these are going to be real hard on edges. It's a very tough, hard plastic. I don't think it'll be that hard for knives to get through, maybe. I don't know. We'll see, but I think it's going to dull edges quickly. We'll see as I keep using it with different blade steels, different knives, but the Delica here went through it really no problem at all. And as you'll see in a second when we go back to the paper, it really didn't affect the edge that much, if at all. So, not sure if this stuff is just actually easier than I think it is for knives to cut through, or if the K390 here really just is super badass. And I have a feeling it's probably that one. The K390 is just real badass. Let's do the strap. This is a heavy-duty 2-inch ratchet strap material, kindly sent to me by a viewer. You'll see there's not a whole lot of extra edge, so I think this blade is going to be too short to really get through it all. And yeah, it leaves, it gets about 7/8 of the way through. That's not due to the sharpness, that's just because we run out of edge to drag along the strap. By the time you get through almost all the strap, you're through the cut. But got real close on that one. I think if I angled perfectly and put just the right amount of pressure, I think I probably could get all the way through the strap. But again, it's not a sharpness issue, just the length of the blade. And our edge is still going strong. Still sharp as crap. Wowza. I'm telling you, it's still sticky. Sticky icky. Oh yeah. Very cool. Let's give her a strap and see how it affects things. This knife doesn't need to be strapped yet, but we'll strap it and see if we can get it. It has dulled a little bit. I can't do like the curvy cuts through the paper like I was in the beginning. So it definitely has dulled a bit, but I wouldn't even probably call this, time to strap yet. It's still very sharp, but we'll see how it straps. 10 strokes per side. I don't really remember how K390 straps back, but we'll find out right now. Boopity beep boop beep boo. Beepity beep 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 boo. This knife is a really good deal. I think it's around $130. Holy wow. Yeah. We definitely strapped back super. It's so sharp, man. Gosh. Yeah. I think this is one of the best, like, small to medium-sized, all-around EDC knives. It's got to be one of the best, especially this Wharncliff variation. For $130, you're getting an unbelievable blade steel K390, Cannot recommend it enough. It is not super corrosion resistant, so if that's an issue for you, keep that in mind. But it'll just get a nice patina. Nothing wrong with that. Really love this knife. It's absolutely amazing. I'm going to carry it a lot this week and do a full review on it. Love you guys. See you next time. Please like the video before you bounce. Adios.